Rebbe Baruch was a great Rebbe in Medzebush. Now, the custom among the Hasidic Rebbes in Volhynia was that on specific Sabbaths, Hasidim visited their Rebbe and ate at his table, but on other Sabbaths, the Rebbes did not conduct public meals. Rebbe Baruch's custom on those Sabbaths was to eat his meals with his wife, Rebbe Tzanyita, and his 4 daughters, Chana Chaya, Razel, Adel, and Pesha. He had no sons. On one of those Sabbaths, Rebbe Yaakov Yitzchak, the Seer of Lublin, was visiting Rebbe Baruch, and having women at the table greatly displeased him, because in Galicia and Poland, Hasidim did not eat together with the women. Rebbe Baruch engaged in conversation at the table with his wife and daughters, which also displeased the seer. At the second Sabbath meal, Rebbe Baruch's aides seated the seer opposite one of the daughters, and she annoyed him by looking in his face, for he avoided intimacy with women. Then Rebbe Baruch entered a trance and made a soul ascent into heaven while sitting at the table. The Seer of Lublin also made a soul ascent, and so too did the Rebbe's daughters. During a soul ascent, the soul exits the body and ascends into heaven to receive mystic teachings. Rebbe Baruch proceeded to direct matters through his yichudim, mystical unification meditations, by moving his snuff box, which he held in his hand. When he stretched out his snuff box, his daughters elevated higher than the Seer of Lublin. When they all returned to the normal plane of consciousness, the Seer of Lublin was angry, thinking, "Why did he draw down such high souls into female bodies?" According to mystic teaching, great tzaddikim can draw down the souls they choose for the children who will be born to them. The seer considered it improper that Rebbe Baruch drew down such great souls into mere female bodies. One of Rebbe Baruch's daughters did not cease from staring in the seer's face, because due to the daughters' souls, they were bold like Rebbe's. The Seer of Lublin then decided to remind them that they were women, so he projected his negative energy, and immediately the offending daughter began to menstruate and ran away from the table. Rebbe Baruch realized what had happened and angrily called out, "Who dares disturb my Sabbath table?" This is a striking story, and we can appreciate aspects of it for reasons different from those intended by the teller. Most important because it shows the boldness of the Rebbe's daughters, who did not back down from confronting the seer, and indeed held their own. Undoubtedly, they were raised to be bold by their father and mother, who seemed to have different, more open ideas about women than the Polish and Galician Rebbes did. Rebbe Baruch's daughters even engaged in a competition in soul ascent with the seer, the greatest Rebbe and mystic in Poland, and they in fact won, although the stories say they were aided by their Holy Father. The tale, which appears in the traditions about Rebbe Baruch and is favorable to him and his ways, remains cautious about overly criticizing the Holy Seer of Lublin. The mystic competition finally ends in a draw when Rebbe Baruch's daughter is forced to flee, but Rebbe Baruch himself complains about the seer's tactics, although without touching on the pertinent issue, the involvement of women together with men in religious life. In fact, one need not judge this issue because there is more than one way in spirituality, and separation of the sexes can promote holiness. It is not as if the seer was simply wrong. The true issue is not the separation of the sexes, but the development and encouragement of women's spirituality. And clearly, Rebbe Baruch and Rebbe Tzanyita did encourage their 4 daughters, Hanachaya, Razel, Adel, and Pesha, to be great women, like the four matriarchs, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. This story comes from Jewish Tales of Holy Women by Yitzchak Buxbaum.